Hi everyone. Just before we get into the flying portion of the video here, I just wanted to go over a little bit. I'm doing obviously a field comparison here of the King Kong 6040, this orange prop, and the 6x4 APC gas prop. I've flown, I'm just going to be testing on 3S today. I've flown both these props on the motor, the GepRC 2306 2750 that I'm going to be using in my plane, but I haven't sort of flown them on the same motor in the same plane during the same flying session, so that's what I wanted to do today. So just going to hold them up here. You can see, you know, quite a bit of difference in blade shape. The King Kong has you know, a much wider blade here, tapers down, so it's overall it's a wider blade. And I'll try and hold them. It's going to be tough for you to see. The King Kong 6040 out here, it actually tends to flatten out a little bit more, whereas the 6x4 APC gas, you know, it tends to keep the curve going, but very gradually, sort of, pardon me, all the way out to the tip. So. Obviously there's a couple of big differences. This King Kong 6040 is about 1/10 of the price, around 25 cents American, I think, for me anyway, and this is the 6x4 APC gas is about $2.50 American by the time I get it shipped to me. So I'm just going to show you, you know, the other big difference is flex. Now I'm going to try and keep this pretty equal, but you can see there's a lot of flex in that King Kong 6040 prop, whereas with the 6x4 APC gas with the same amount of pressure, I don't even think it's flexing half as much. So anyway, let's give it a whirl. On the bench, in the static test, the King Kong 6040 actually produced about 100 grams more thrust at full throttle than 6x4 APC gas. So we're going to see. I've already done a few fly-offs here, but you know, once I'll be able to watch the video, we'll see how it goes. So just hang on a second here and we'll get a plane in the air and get flying. Okay folks, so here we go. First part of the flying portion of this comparison, the King Kong 6040, again on 3S. Here we go. So one of the things I'm watching for, where I do notice a bit of a slight difference, is the acceleration seems to be a lot softer with this prop, perhaps because of a couple of things. Maybe it's a bit more flexible, and the difference in the blade shape. I'm not 100% sure, you know, top end speed, if there's a huge difference. Oh baby, but you know, for 25 cents for a prop. The other thing I notice is when I do those high speed runs and then I transition into those vertical pull-ups like that, is as I'm transitioning from level to vertical, I mean, that looks pretty aggressive, but I seem to think that the 6x4 APC gas might be a little bit more aggressive in those maneuvers. Again, prop shape, flexibility, I don't know. But for you know, for the price, I mean, these props have you know, they're quite well balanced. Haven't had any problems. They're, you know, they fit very snugly on the shaft on the motor. No need to, you know, they're sized specifically for the shafts on these quad racing motors, so there's no need to, you know, worry about any spacer rings or anything. So we'll just chuck her into a full throttle turn here. Moves it along pretty good. All right, so let's bring her in and land. I think I've seen, hopefully we've seen what we needed to see there. Oh, oh, oh. Need to go back to flying school. That was kind of a rough landing. So there we go, folks. There's the King Kong 6040 prop on 3S running the GepRC 2306 2750. So I'm just going to pause, swap out props and batteries, and we'll be back with the 6x4 APC gas. Okay folks, part 2 of the flight portion of this video. 6x4 APC gas prop now, fresh 3-cell battery. So here we go. Alright, so I'm going to be watching mostly for... Yeah, I think the acceleration is a bit faster because the prop, prop shape, and it's much stiffer backbone. Not by a whole lot. And when I pull up in the vertical there, let's do that again down at the left end of the field here. Yeah, I find that, when I make that transition from straight and level to vertical, that I don't seem to lose as much power, and I have better better power going into the straight vertical with the 6x4 APC gas. Oh baby. Rock and roll. Yeah, so not that the the King Kong on this motor is a dog by any means. I mean, it's a very usable prop on this motor. I mean, this GepRC 2306 2750 is the most powerful quad racing motor that I've run in a park jet. It's really so I think to get really the maximum power out of it, it wants to run the 6x4 APC gas, because I don't think we're losing really any or too much of the motor's power in prop flex. I mean, she really scoots. Now, the unfortunate thing is I have run this motor on 4S with the King Kong prop, but I don't think that I that I would do the same with this 6x4 APC gas, just because I don't think the motor would be very happy with it, because the King Kong 6040 is a bit more efficient. I can't remember the exact amp numbers off the top of my head, but nice. All right, so there we go, folks. That's the 6x4 APC gas. So, that was kind of a fun comparison. And now that I see them, sort of during the same flight session, in the same plane, on the same motor, on 3S, again, King Kong 6040, considering I'm only paying 25 cents for it, it's not, it's certainly better than 1/10 the performance. I would say it's closer to, maybe 80 to 90% of the performance of this 6x4 APC gas. But I think it just the acceleration, the maneuvers and all that sort of stuff, between sort of 60 and full throttle are much crisper with the 6x4 APC gas. But again, I'm paying close to $250 American for the prop, where I can get the King Kongs for a quarter, so 25 cents a piece. The other nice things with the King Kongs is, if you don't necessarily, I tried it out on my little mini MiG that has the very small wingspan, a 24-inch wingspan, and I get much less torque roll with the King Kong 6040 with this very same motor than I was getting with the 6x4 APC gas. It was giving a little bit of torque roll, but it was much softer and more gradual, so I could sort of fly the plane and counteract with a little bit of right aileron. Whereas with the 6x4 APC gas, the torque roll was a bit more aggressive. The other thing with them, if you're running a setup of any kind in a park jet with twin motors, or any other kind of plane with twin motors, you get 20 props on the King Kong 6040s, 10 of each of rotation, so that's kind of nice. So there we go, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Please check out the comments for links to the props and other goodies down below. Not a whole lot of blue sky here today, but it's nice and cool and calm wind. So park jet noise, hear the sound of freedom, baby. Take care.